Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's masterclass. Today, we are talking boundaries that move you forward. I love this topic so much. I think you are going to enjoy this masterclass as much as I enjoyed creating and thinking about everything that I wanted to share with you. So, this masterclass is about to show you a completely new way of seeing boundaries. Okay, so let's see. All right. If you are joining me live, please say hello in the comments so I know that you are joining me live. And if you are catching this on the replay, comment hashtag team replay so I know that you are catching up the replay. Okay. So, should we center ourselves and kind of like let you know if you are at the right place or not, if this masterclass is actually for you? So here's the thing. This masterclass is for you if you've already learned how to set boundaries, but something is feeling off, right? You catch yourself like overthinking, second guessing. You set the boundaries and then you're like, oh, maybe I should soften up a little bit. Maybe I should just give in to whatever people are saying, right? Or maybe you want to move forward, but your current boundaries, you realize that they aren't supporting you in that way. Okay, so this masterclass, if this is you, welcome home. Okay, now this masterclass is not for you if you are still figuring out what boundaries are, right? This is not for you if you are not ready to change how you're showing up yet. There's nothing wrong with this, but this masterclass is a little bit further ahead of like, oh, what boundaries are. So this masterclass, if you're still trying to figure it out, you'll probably learn something, but this is not the masterclass for you. You probably need to go a little bit. Send me a DM if this is not you, because I also have resources for that. Okay, so welcome home, gorgeous. I'm so excited to having this conversation with you. And as I said, say hello in the comments because I see people logging in and I would love to know who you are. All right. So, if you don't know who I am by now, my name is Erika Sardinha. I am the founder of Akire. I am your coach for what's next, basically. I'm a complex childhood trauma survivor. I have been healing and doing the forward work for 10 plus years, completely transformed my life from feeling anxious, numb, depressed, broken, everything that you can imagine, to now having my dream life. Of course, I'm still expanding and evolving, right? But this is a work that it's not only, oh, I'm teaching you this. I've actually walked the walk, right? And I have been supporting women for 8+ years, and I'm all for helping you move forward. That's why I'm your coach for what's next, okay? Why you should trust me? I'm a certified life coach. It's just not about me having experienced all of the trauma and whatever, but I actually, am trained as a certified life coach. I'm a yoga and meditation teacher, and I am a writer. Are you ready to go deep? Are you ready? So my number one goals, hi Sydney, and everyone else who's joining, say hello in the comments. I see loads of you probably from YouTube. Say hello in the comments, okay? So my number one thing here is really to help you upgrade the way you see boundaries, okay? Because from what I've seen in session, in conversations with other people, the way we see boundaries usually is for protection, right? Which is totally fine. If you come from a background like mine with a lot of trauma and whatever, you really had to sit down with yourself and be like, okay, I need to start protecting myself so I don't put myself in harm's way. I need to do things differently so I protect myself, my soul, my emotions. And that is completely valid. But once you had that kind of set, you need to start thinking about different things. You need to start thinking about expansion, right? And you need to start thinking about boundaries as a strategy to help you achieve your goals. Boundaries are not just there for you, to protect yourself. They are actually there to help you achieve your goals. And I'm going to show you how today. So let's right now, between you and me, let's really lock in and be like, okay, I am going to start seeing boundaries differently. And I am going to use boundaries to take me to where I want to be. Because guess what? If your boundaries are not supporting where you want to be, guess what's going to happen? It's going to be really, really hard to get there, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about this as we proceed with the masterclass. Hope this makes sense. Last week I did a masterclass when I spoke a little bit about this, and you were like, tell me more. So here I am. I think this makes sense if this is not the first time you're seeing me. Okay? All right. So we're talking about changing the way that we see boundaries. So we need to also think about, okay, how am I setting boundaries, right? Because if you are still coming from this place of like, I'm trying to protect myself, and this is a very closed off energy. And probably what you are trying to create in your life is asking you to become more visible, to show up more often, to actually say what you want to say, right? So when now you sit down again to think about your boundaries, because this is what's going to happen. When you finish this masterclass, you're going to be like, oh, I need new boundaries. I need to redo them. So what you want to start thinking about it is, okay, so what am I building, right? What do I need to support that? And what needs to change? Hold on, I'm going to change something here because I'm seeing myself so small. Hello. Better, right? I was like, why am I so small? So yeah, think about what is it that you're building? What is it, what do you need to support with what you're building? And what is it that you need to change, right? So, what do you need more of? What do you need now? Do you need more consistency? Do you need more visibility? Because if that's what you need, your boundaries should absolutely reflect that. And this is the part that we don't talk about, right? We talk about, okay, have your boundaries in place so you can protect yourself. But then it's like, okay, so are they also taking you to where you want to go, right? And now, another thing that I want to share with you that is crazy, that I cannot believe we don't talk about this when we talk about boundaries, is that there is a secret recipe to set your boundaries and to actually implement your boundaries. It's not just, oh, go ahead. I feel when people talk about boundaries, it's like, you have to set boundaries. And usually people are like, okay, how do I set those boundaries? Because it is really hard. You find yourself that it's so hard to implement boundaries sometimes, and you think that something is wrong with you. And actually, no, there is nothing wrong with you. It's just you need to have certain things in place to be able to set these boundaries. So, number one thing is self regulation, because, girl, guess what? It's going to be triggering. You know what I mean? It's going to be triggering. Like, if you can say hello in the comments, if you can say, like, raise your hand if you ever tried to set a boundary and figure out that, oh my God, this is freaking triggering. And obviously, it is triggering because you haven't done it before. So what's going to happen is that you're going to need to self-regulate before. I remember I had this client that was trying to set boundaries with her family, right? She really wanted to create, there was nothing wrong with her life per se, but she wasn't happy. And she wasn't happy because she didn't have all of these boundaries in place. So she couldn't actually enjoy everything that she's built because she didn't have those boundaries in place. You know what I mean? So what I worked with her was to self-regulate, so she was able to actually set the boundaries with her family, because it used to trigger her so much. It used to cause so much anxiety that it wasn't possible for her. And this is a piece that we sometimes forget, and we sometimes don't think it's necessary. You know, there's nothing wrong with you, for example, doing a EFT tapping round before you set a boundary. Okay, just open yourself a little bit for the fact that you need to regulate a little bit. Okay, so just don't go like, gotta set the boundary, and it's gonna be so triggering. And sometimes that's what happens. You just don't set the boundary because you feel so bad, right? And what helps with that? Self-regulation. And I'm talking self-regulation before, during, like you're having the conversation and you're breathing in and out. You ask for a break, whatever is it that you need to help you regulate and do the thing that you want to do, no matter what the boundary is. And don't be ashamed. Don't be like, oh my God, I should be doing this easy peasy because I've done all this healing. No, it's always triggering. It's always triggering. So yeah, it's not as triggering as before if you have been doing a lot of healing, but you're going to feel it, right? Another thing that goes into the secret recipe is a bit of bravery. This is the part where, like, us coaches, like, I can motivate you, right? I can be there for you. But this is the part where sometimes we don't like to listen. Like, you need a little bit of bravery. You need to be like, you know what, I'm going to get this shit done. And if you are doing the self-regulation and the sprinkle of bravery, you will be able to set the boundary, right? This is like just amazing. Hi, Edna. So good to see you here. Right? That's what you need. Self-regulation, a little bit of bravery, and training yourself to choose different in the moment. Okay? Obviously, this is not going to be automatic. You have to practice. And one of the things that I love the most about coaching people is that we practice. We're like, first session, we talk about this. This is what you are going to implement. And then you have a problem, and then you DM me, and then we adjust. But you, at the end of the day, you are going to change. And the boundaries that seem impossible right now to set are just going to be your day-to-day life. You're not even going to see them as boundaries. It's going to be like, just, this is just, well, what I do, right? Okay. Now, I haven't seen anybody talk about this. I may have been mistaken, but we forget that when we set boundaries, we usually face some boundary backlash. Okay? So I feel this is one of those things that when we're talking, when we're having masterclasses, when we are talking about, okay, so this is how you set boundaries, this is what you should be doing, your boundaries should support your vision, right? But what about when in your vision you have a good relationship with your family? What about if in your vision people are actually saying, agreeing with you, and who knows, right? So I want you to just rest assured that if somebody is pushing back on your boundaries, that is completely normal. I even wrote Tuesday Tea, a newsletter that I send every week about the boundary backlash, because it's so normal. And sometimes people get so stressed out and think that this is a sign that your boundaries are not valued, that you're not worthy of having boundaries, that you are being too much. When people are pushing back, they're just reacting on you changing the way you used to be, right? So if all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I'm not going to be available every day of the week for you because I'm taking care of myself now, and I have these yoga classes that I'm doing. I have an hour that I'm going to dedicate today for my business. Like people like familiarity, and they like when people are just the same. So they're going to be like, what the hell is happening here? Okay. So even healthy people are probably going to give you a little bit of a pushback. So I just want you to consider, when you're setting your boundaries, just know that you are going to have reactions from people, just know that people are going to feel a certain way. Some of them are healthy and they're going to get around it. And some of them are unhealthy. And I guess you know what to do with the unhealthy people, right? Also know that it's going to be uncomfortable and it's going to trigger you, right? And I'm going to tell you exactly what to do for you to contrast all of this that we are talking. So this is just for you to mentally prepare yourself for what happens when we set boundaries, because I don't want you to get all excited and be like, sit down and write down your boundaries that are going to support you forward, and be like, oh, my partner doesn't like this. He says it's not going to work. I feel so triggered, I'm going to quit. No, you have to continue, but not at the expense of your health, okay? So just consider for now that this is going to happen. And then what's going to happen is you're going to lose relatability, right? Let's say, for example, you've always had a 9 to 5. Your friends all have a 9 to 5. I have a perfect example because I used to be a primary school teacher, right? So I had a lot of friends that were teachers, and you have the 9 to 5, you have the security and everything. And after 5 years, I think, of working with clients and teaching, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to quit. So immediately, I am not as relatable as I used to be, and all of my peers, luckily I had a lot of people supporting me. They were like, oh my God, you're so brave, this is amazing. Like they knew that I've been doing this for some time. They loved the message, and I had a lot of people supporting me. But immediately I'm not as relatable. Like my life changed so much. People that I used to know don't relate to me anymore because my life is different. So this is going to change your relationships. So you need to know that when you start setting these boundaries, and I'm not only talking about these boundaries with toxic people, that's something that you probably already took care of. I'm talking about different boundaries that are actually going to move you forward, that are going to help you set up the business, get a raise, make more money, finally have the relationship and let the relationship be healthy, right? So you're going to lose the relatability to many people. So this is one of the things that I wanted to kind of warn you, that if you are leveling up, if you are setting boundaries for your next level, this is what's going to happen. People are going to have their reactions. You are going to feel uncomfortable, triggered, other people as well, because they will see that you are doing what they're not doing. And then you're probably going to lose some relatability. Okay. So, how can we deal with all of this boundary backlash? How can you be like, oh my God, this is horrible? When we look at this is horrible. But there are ways of dealing with this, and it's so freaking worthy, because at the end of this path, if you go through this, what's going to happen is that you are actually going to set your boundaries, do what you got to do, and achieve what you want to achieve, which is freaking amazing. My microphone is moving so much. Okay, so how can we contrast it? Okay, we have to look back at the secret recipe. Remember the secret recipe, which was to regulate, right? And now, in the secret recipe, I tell you to regulate, but I also don't want you to use regulation as, okay, now I need to be safe. I can't do anything else. Okay, so we need to keep that balance, because between I need to regulate, I need the feeling of staying safe, right? Because I want you to feel safe in your body as you are moving forward. But remember the sprinkle of bravery, because usually you are very uncomfortable, at least before you start setting the boundary and get used to it. Okay. And then what you are going to need also is accountability. Because if you are trying to set a new boundary, and you probably done this 1,000 times before, which is you try to set a new boundary and then you fall off a few days after. It's something that you're not used to do. So you are going to struggle to follow through, basically. That's what happens, you know? And I know that many people, including me, I had this idea, okay, I need to try, and not so much actually, but I used to think I had to really try and do everything by myself. There's something wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. Simply, you're not used to doing this, and you need a system of accountability that will, be like, not let you be off the hook, right? Because during this time, this is when people quit on their boundaries. And usually they quit on their boundaries, which means they're quitting on their dreams, they're quitting on their goals, they're quitting on what is it that they're trying to achieve. So you need to really be very intentional and follow the secret recipe, meaning a little bit of bravery. Your nervous system regulation is in place, but don't go too much to the nervous system, because otherwise you're using it as a crutch and as an excuse to not move forward. So we need a little bit of balance over there, and find an accountability system, being with other people or with experts like me, who are going to not let you off the hook, help you regulate, and also call you out and be like, this is what you promised. Here's what we're going to do. Let's do some tapping. Let's continue. Okay. So this is how you deal with the boundary backlash, because I am sure if you take something from this masterclass, take this, because this is how you are going to be able to implement boundaries that move you forward. Because the other boundaries, it's okay. It's just a matter of you adjusting a little bit. But when you're going next level, when you're trying to move forward, you need an extra level of care and an extra level of okay, let's focus on this. Okay. Remember, secret recipe, regulating, staying safe versus staying safe, accountability. And if you are taking notes, you are worried about the slides, I usually share my slides inside of my WhatsApp channel. So at the end, you will be able to, if you are on my WhatsApp channel, hello, you're going to get the slides. But if you're not, don't worry. I'm going to share the QR code, and you can join us there. And I'm going to share the slides tomorrow in case somebody joins. Okay? All right. Now, let's think about, because I'm your coach to move you forward, right? I'm your coach to help you hear for what's next. So, one thing that you want to do today is to think about what boundaries you need to implement that will support your vision. What boundaries do you need to implement that will support your vision? You can write down this question, and I'm going to share with you some boundaries that I have implemented, that my clients have implemented, that are helping them move forward at this moment and in the past. Okay? So, for example, the two boundaries that I'm sharing here are my biggest boundaries at the moment. These are my personal boundaries. I need undisturbed AM routine. What does that help me? Self-regulate the moment I wake up. And since I am out of my comfort zone every day of the week, I really need to regulate and put my mindset at the right place. Right now, for example, I'm working on something that is going to expand my business. And every day I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, so many documents. And I get overwhelmed. So in the AM, I know I need to regulate. This is non-negotiable, and it has been non-negotiable for I don't know how long. I really don't know how long. I forgot. And then I have cycle syncing. I absolutely love working around my menstrual cycle. This is how I organize myself. This is how I know, oh, I'm going to do a masterclass here because I do have the energy. My period is coming now, so I'm not going to do any masterclass. I'm going to be cozy and I'm not going to work on anything. Okay. So these are two of my biggest boundaries. Not saying these should be your boundaries. And to be honest, when I work with clients, they have different boundaries to mine. If they want, obviously, undisturbed AM routine, even if you need 15 minutes, yes, go ahead and do it. But cycle syncing, obviously, if you don't have a cycle, you have to figure out how your energy works in a different way. So if you're my client, I will check in with you. But this is something that you can think about. If you still have a menstrual cycle, or if you do have a menstrual cycle, just think about it. Cycle syncing, is it something that would help you move forward? If so, then you have the opportunity, and I'm going to share an invitation with you where we can work on these things. Okay. Now, another boundary. Oh, I had this client called Estella, Estella, and she had this beautiful, beautiful boundary because she was a single mom with two kids, right? And we were talking about having some habits in the morning and in the evening that would help her regulate. And she was going through a very difficult phase. So the more difficult phase you encounter, the more you need to regulate, by the way. Okay. So we were working on evening routine and stuff like that. So she took the chance, instead of just regulating by herself, she was regulating with her kids. So I loved it. They were meditating in the evening. So instead of her trying to, scream with the kids, go to bed, whatever, she would sit down with them, nice music, and they would regulate. And they loved it. And they used to keep her accountable. It was the sweetest thing I've ever heard on a session. I was like, I could cry, right? So your boundaries really need to respect you, okay? And where you're going and the lifestyle that you want to have and what you value, yeah? So this boundary, I really loved it because she was grounding herself. She was also helping her kids out. Like, what else do you want, right? So I also have this client, Laura. She was a nurse and she wanted to progress in her profession because she loved it, but she wasn't making, enough money, but she needed to study, right? But she didn't have that non-negotiable study time. So without that study time, there was a lot of friction. It's the same when you're trying to exercise, right? You're trying to exercise, and then if you don't have a time to exercise, you're not going to do it. So it's the same. What we want when we're setting boundaries is we want as less friction as you want. Let people know about the boundary. Have a fixed thing on your schedule, right? So that's another example of a boundary. And another thing is communicating clearly. Oh, I just said communicating clearly what works for you so your relationships can support you. This has been one of my major boundaries for myself. I need to, people don't have crystal ball. I need to communicate. And if you have been doing the work, this is one of those things where it's not about you doing more work. It's about you having that sprinkle of bravery and actually start implementing that, okay? Because that's a boundary that you need to implement. So I'll ask again, what boundaries do you need to implement that are going to support your vision? You can share it in the comments. You can send me a DM telling me about what is it that you are trying to implement, okay? Now, here is the thing. Here's the thing, tribe. I know that this is a lot of theory. This is one of those things where you have to grab what I say and you have to take action. And when we're talking about taking action, is not always the easiest thing, right? That's why so many of you that are in my community, when I coach people, usually I coach people who already have done a lot of the work, but what they need is that pitch, that little push. Sorry, I was reading like Sydney's comment, evening grounding routine. Yes, love that. Love that. That's what you're implementing. Amazing. Oh my God, it's going to change your life. It's going to change your life. So what was I going to say? Yeah. So usually when I work with people, they have done a lot of the work, but it's not the same having the awareness and implementing it. You are going to find that backlash that I was telling you about, right? And if you're trying to move forward, your boundaries need to fall on a structure inside of your life, right? So that's why I created the follow through, which is a mini program that I have created specifically to help you create a plan that works for you and where you want to go in your life, right? And actually implement it. That's why I called it the follow through. I didn't even, find a different name or anything. I was just like, this is the follow through. So hold on, let me try and share it with you. So this is the follow through, tribe. If you are feeling like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. I know that I will need help moving forward. I will need help to implement it. We are not talking about a commitment where you're like 6 months working with me. We're talking about a 90 minutes intensive session. We're talking about a follow through, a follow up after a couple of sessions. So for a couple of weeks. So I'm sure that you are implementing that accountability that we were talking about. So this is all about helping you apply what you know, get support as you implement, and to actually move forward. The QR code is there. And I'm also going to send you the link for you if you are on your phone and you can't get okay. This really, I love delivering this program because this is all about helping you move forward, right? We don't just do a plan. You get support in real life when it's uncomfortable. Because like how many of us, we started doing something, but then it gets uncomfortable and we are, in this loop. Because I'm sure you have the awareness of what I shared with you right now. Okay, you are like, oh my God, okay, I know I need to implement certain boundaries. But maybe there is something that you are missing. Maybe there is something that, you know what, personalized support is just way better. I wish I could sit down with all of you, okay? I wish I could sit down with all of you and be like, let's make this plan. Let's set the boundaries. Let's see your energy level. Let's see how you can actually move forward with the life that you have right now and where you want to be. What I can do is sit down with a few of you. So you can scan the QR code. And oh my God, you also have a bonus that I have included now since like I think three weeks ago, because I've offered this 90-day overwhelm proof journal as a bonus, right? Just like, okay, so I'm going to leave this as a bonus, but I was like, this is spectacular because you get the intensive session and then you have the follow through catch up session, and then you have a 90-day journal to beat overwhelm as you go. And it's going to help you if you want to implement the evening grounding routine. You can even use your journal and fill it up in the evening. You know what I mean? And it's going to help you stay grounded as you go. So if this is something that you're like, I want to do this, I need somebody, because I know this is not for everybody and that is completely fine. But I know that many of you right now really need the hands-on support. You have been trying to implement things and you end up in the same place again. And you try to implement the boundaries and you can't, you don't know how to adjust it, you don't know how to honor your energy. So I know that some of you really need this support. So here it is, and take it if that's what you need. Okay. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I love doing the follow through. So I'm so excited to have some of you sign up and do it. This is so easy. You just scan the QR code or go to the link, and immediately you are going to book the session. So this is for people who take action. This is for people who are really ready. So if you're ready, go ahead, click on the link, book it immediately. If you can't find a date that works for you, let me know, okay? But I'm sure you will find. I'm sure you will find. I opened quite a few spots. Okay, now tribe. Oh, I had a few more lines. This is what's going to help you. Did I tell you that? Yeah, it's going to help you stop overthinking, stop going back to whatever you were doing. We spoke about that. Doesn't matter. Now, I want to give you a big thank you for joining me today. You have no idea how I am so happy for being here, because today I had one of those days where I had to do a lot of business admin. And I'm really like, oh my God, one of my goals is to have like an assistant, and hopefully in a few months this is going to be true and I'm going to have that assistant. But I'm so excited that I'm here and I'm actually doing what I love, which is giving you as much value as I can, helping you move forward in any way that I can. So I'm very happy for being here. I'm so happy I'm not doing admin anymore. So if you want to grab the slides that I just shared to revisit, to see the examples, to inspire yourself, scan the QR code to join our Gentle Badass channel. And if you want to find me online, if you're catching this on YouTube, hold on. You can find me on IG and Facebook at Forward with Erica. Okay, this is where I hang out the most. Well, especially on Facebook, but now I started to hang out the most, to go on IG as well. Okay, this was so lovely. I don't like admin. I like talking to you. I love having coaching sessions with you. And speaking of coaching sessions, one last reminder to book the follow through if you're tired of circling and you want to take action. Basically, this is it, tribe. Okay, do I have questions? I'm so proud. It's been 36 minutes. This has been a short one. Okay, let me take these slides and everything else. How do I take this? I want to hear you. Do you have any questions when it comes to setting boundaries that actually honor yourself and move you forward? Do you have any questions when it comes to the follow through? I'm going to sip some water and wait for you to drop any questions you've got. Usually it's a little bit delayed, the comments, but oh wow, I was thirsty. I don't have questions. So 3, 2, last chance to drop any question. Okay, tribe, thank you so much for joining me live. Thank you, Edna. Thank you, Sydney. Thank you to everyone who also joined live. You didn't put your name, so I cannot call you. I cannot, shout out your name. Next time, put your name down, okay? And if you're joining me on the replay, comment #team replay, so I know that you watched it. It has been my absolute pleasure to spend this time with you and to talk a little bit about boundaries and to take you a little bit further, to take you forward, because as I said, you need to start setting boundaries to help you move forward. And I know that after this masterclass, that's exactly what you want to do, what you're going to do. And if you need support with that, I am here for you. The follow through program is here for you. So I'll see you there and I'll see you around, tribe. Thank you.